Hey everyone, my name is Jovanay, and I'm going to walk you through how to do a basic mock interview on the Dev Difference. So when you log into the Dev Difference, you'll be welcomed to a dashboard. And this dashboard has an introduction from Buddy, who is your champion through your interview process. It also has some quick start links for you to get started right in the role that you selected in your intake form or where you signed up. So you can either get started with essential behavioral questions. These are questions like, tell me about yourself and what are your greatest strengths? You can also get started with technical questions for the area that you're interested in. So a technical product management question would be something around estimating the number of users for an app in a certain region. And then for behavioral questions for the role that you chose might be how do you manage time or prioritize projects for product management. Or you can come down here to more question types. Well, you'll see you'll be able to add in a job description. So if you know you have a role coming up, you can go ahead and add in your job description. Or you can create your own question. And so if you know a company will ask you something like, when was the last time you were able to lead a product team to completion? The last two pieces that you can do under the question types is a resume-based track. If you don't already have your resume on file, you can add your resume and it'll ask you questions based off of your resume, your experiences. And then company questions. So searching a company out of top 100 companies or clicking one of these auto links will generate questions based on that company, questions that we know that that company asks. And then you can change your track and go into a new type of interview if you would like. And if you don't see the type of role that you're interested in here, you could type in a new type, something like marketing manager or something like that. And then when you press enter, it'll go and change. So now it is thinking about you asking marketing manager questions. So I'm going to go back to product management and I'm just going to go get started because I don't know exactly what questions I want to practice yet. I just want to get started. So once you come here, this is your question selection page. You're able to select what questions you want to practice, the difficulty level, and see if you've practiced before, how many stars you got on the previous time you practiced. You can combine a mix of behavioral and technical questions in this. So it auto selects some questions for you. If you had unlimited resources at Apple, how would you measure success of iPad Pro? And all of these are strategy questions. So I actually want to have a bit more of a mix. I don't want just strategy. I want some product design. So let's see. I clicked product design here, and now they filter down here. I want an easy product design question. Improve a product that you believe has not reached its full potential. Perfect. That's included there. And then maybe I want a behavior question. And let me unclick that. How do you prioritize between features? How would you manage a sudden shift in priorities? Let's say that. Cool. So all of these questions are related to being a product manager. This one is just a behavioral, a product design, and then strategy. And you can see it's a mix of questions like similar to what you might be asking in a real interview. So once I'm ready to start, I'll click Start Session.
How would you measure the success of iPad Pro?
So if you're not a fan of the voice, you can turn it off. I actually like when she talks to me, so I'm gonna keep it on. How would I measure the success of iPad Pro? Some very important tips for when you're in the interview environment. You see, I added 3 questions to my session, so all 3 of these questions are recognized here. I could click into the different questions and practice those if I want. This timer shows how long I've been talking. It starts once I click the mic button, then it starts accumulating the time for that question. And then if I wanted to use a whiteboard, I could turn on this feature so I can write out my thoughts or write the things that I would write if I were in a real interview. This accessible to organization is for if you have an organization license, like if you're partnered with a university or a company and they are paying for your license to use the data difference. This allows that team to see how your data is going, see how your usage is going, how you're performing, and allows them to be able to help you and coach you throughout your interview process. So I'm going to get started. I'm going to say, I don't know what an iPad Pro is. Can you start by telling me a little bit about that tool?
The iPad Pro is a high-end tablet from Apple designed for both personal and professional use, featuring advanced hardware and software capabilities. Now, how would you measure its success?
Okay. So very important here, a couple things. You see my timer is already going and it's blue to tell you that, hey, I'm timing you. You see that it captured my transcript as I talk so that I know that it is hearing what I'm saying. And thirdly, I asked a question to get started. That is important for two reasons. It's important because this is practice. We want you to practice how you're doing your interview. And secondly, it's important because an interviewer actually expects you to ask questions. And so getting in the habit of asking questions is really going to be key to how you use the depth difference. So, okay, the iPad is a high-end tablet. How would I measure its success? I would probably measure its success by how many active usages we have based on the people who already have an iPad, and then how many people purchase in addition to that. So, number one, how many new purchases we have, and number two, how many active daily users we have with those who've already purchased.
That's a great start. How would you factor in customer satisfaction or feedback into your measurement of success for the iPad Pro?
Okay, now I'm going to turn the voice off so I can just talk. Um, Another important thing here is it will give you a couple of follow-up questions to get you in the habit of thinking quickly and on your feet for follow-up questions. So that's a great start. How would you factor in customer satisfaction? I would take in surveys and ask customers potentially in Apple stores how they feel about the iPad Pro versus another iPad, maybe versus the iPhone. I would want to understand customer emotions for the iPad, both for those who are current customers of the iPad Pro and those who are not customers of the iPad Pro, or maybe they're not Apple customers at all. Okay, so it says those are valuable methods. How would you incorporate financial metrics? And it's going to keep you asking you questions. The reason that is because it probably wanted me to say something about finances earlier on, and I didn't. So it'll ask you another follow-up question because it's trying to teach you what this question really wants you to answer. But I'm going to go ahead and hit finish because I'm done practicing that interview. So here's how I did on that question. My communication was poor. I said, I don't really know what an iPad Pro is. So it indicates a lack of basic product knowledge, which is probably important for this product, especially if I were interviewing for, say, Apple. Overall assessment and measurement of success was satisfactory. I did talk about some metrics. However, I could have enhanced this by including additional success metrics on customer retention, average users, things like that. If I were really interviewing for this, I would know what an average user rate what is good and what is not good and continue to practice off that. So it's trying to get you to think about the things that they're hoping to hear and practice those things. The next thing I wanted to show is that, see my timer stopped. I could save progress here, meaning that I didn't complete the other two sessions, the other two questions. I could save progress and this will take me back to the dashboard. Or I can go on to the next question either by clicking here, clicking next question here. Or if I was like, oh no, I could have done so much better on that question in a 33, that's embarrassing, then I could have just gone ahead and retried. Again, if you wanted to see all of your feedback at once, you could press expand all, and then all of these categories will expand. If you do not, then I can just go ahead and collapse those. I can see action steps, meaning the things that I need to practice. Right. First of all, be aware of what a iPad Pro is, integrate comprehensive success metrics, and then propose innovative strategies aligned with strategic goals. Great. I can also see a solution, which is how the AI would have answered the question, or how many other people have answered the question that looks really good. So potentially talking about sales performance, market share, customer satisfaction, usage metrics. So all of those follow-up questions that it was asking me was because it was trying to get me to something of this sort that is as thorough as this question is. It covers multiple different categories. And so that is sort of why it asks so many follow-up questions, because it wants me to start thinking in a framework that is similar to a really thorough solution. I will say it is a balance between a thorough answer and how long you're speaking. So sometimes you actually want the follow-up questions. You want to like list out some of your initial thoughts and then let the interviewer ask you a follow-up question so that you could play between how long you're talking and getting the most valuable information. And of course, you can always go back to your transcript to see exactly what you said. Now you can go through the next questions. Yes, this feedback was helpful. You can go through the next question. And again, it's not talking to me because I turned it off. And then you can go to the third question if you want. And so I want to go ahead and finish. Save progress. So boom, brought me back to this homepage because I didn't finish the session. I continued the session. Now, if I wanted to see how I did, like I didn't remember what it said I needed to work on, I can go to this progress tab. And the first question here is the question I just practiced. How would you measure the success of the iPad Pro? This shows me my most recent attempt. This also shows me clearly the stats that I've done overall and using the adaptive difference. So I practiced 95 questions. I get an average of 38, which is pretty low. And I've earned 124 stars out of those 95 attempts of times three. So that's a third. So yeah, you can see all the questions that you've practiced over your course of using the dev difference. And you can also go back to your history here. So that is basic practice on the dev difference. If you have questions or feedback, you can always share feedback in this little help button. Contact us if you have something that's buggy or not working. Yeah, thanks for listening. So I hope to see you in the next video. I'll talk more about some of these additional question types, such as job description, create your own, and how those could be useful for your interviews.